Two guys walked into the same dealership on the same Saturday. Same car, same color, same everything. Daniel drove out in a brand new sedan, $38,000. Miles drove out in the exact same sedan, 4 years old, 41,000 miles on it. $20,000. Miles saved $18,000 in about 90 minutes. He did the smart thing. Everyone knows you don't buy new. Everyone knows this new car loses 20% the second you touch the gas. 12 years later, Daniel is about $12,000 ahead. And here's the part that's going to bother you. Miles wasn't wrong about the $18,000. He was right. The used car really was cheaper. That's not the trick. They both think they made the smarter choice. They're both wrong. And the reason has almost nothing to do with the car. Let's keep this fair. Same salary, $62,000 a year, both of them. Same city, same apartment building actually. That's how they knew each other. Neither one had cash sitting around, so both of them financed. 60 months, both. That's it. That's the whole setup. Two guys, identical on paper, standing in the same parking lot, making the one decision every personal finance video on earth has already answered for them. Buy used. Obviously. Right? For the first 18 months, Miles looks like a genius. His payment is $445 a month. Daniel's is $752. That's $307 a month that stays in Miles's pocket every month for 5 straight years. Miles's insurance is cheaper. His registration is cheaper. When a shopping cart puts a dent in his door, he shrugs and leaves it. Daniel would have cried. And that 20% everybody warns you about. Daniel ate it. His $38,000 car was worth about $30,400 by the end of year one. $7,600 gone for the smell. Miles didn't eat any of it. Somebody else already did. The guy who owned it before him. That's the whole argument for buying used, and it is a genuinely good argument. I want to be honest about that. Miles didn't fall for a scam. He did what the math says to do. 18 months in, if you'd asked either of them who won, they'd both have said Miles, including Daniel. But feelings and math are two very different things. Let's run the timeline. Year one, Miles is up, way up. He's got $307 extra a month and a car that does the exact same job as Daniel's. Now look at the loan. Daniel borrowed $38,000 at 7%. Over 60 months, he pays back $45,147. His interest, $7,147. Miles borrowed $20,000, half of what Daniel borrowed. His rate was not 7%, it was 12%. Over 60 months, Miles pays back $26,693. His interest, $6,693. Read those two numbers next to each other. Daniel borrowed $38,000 and paid $7,100 in interest. Miles borrowed $20,000 and paid $6,700 in interest. Miles borrowed half as much money and paid almost exactly the same amount of interest. That's not a typo, and it's not bad luck. Used car loans just carry higher rates than new car loans, 3 to 5 points higher, routinely. The lender is looking at an older asset with a shorter life and a fuzzier value, and they price that risk into your rate. Meanwhile, the manufacturer of the new car wants to move inventory badly enough to subsidize Daniel's financing. Nobody ever puts that on the window sticker. The number everyone talks about is the sticker price. What nobody talks about is the rate attached to it. Year 3. Daniel's car makes a noise. He takes it in. It's covered. He pays 0. Year 3, Miles's car makes a noise. His car is now 7 years old. There is no warranty. There was never a warranty. It expired before he ever owned it. $400. Year 4, control arm bushings. $600. Year 5, the AC compressor. $1,100. None of this is unusual. None of this means Miles bought a lemon. This is just what a 7, 8, 9-year-old car does. It's the normal, boring, statistically expected behavior of an aging machine. And it's the part of the used car math that gets quietly skipped. Over 6 years, Miles spends about $7,200 keeping his car alive. Daniel, over the same 6 years, spends about $2,100. Not because his car is better, because his car is younger, and because somebody else was contractually obligated to fix it for the first 3 years. Miles is still ahead, even now. Add the repairs, subtract the payment gap, he's still winning. And then, year 6 happens. The transmission goes. The car is 10 years old now. The quote is $4,800. The car, running, is worth about $6,000. You already know what he does. Nobody puts $4,800 into a $6,000 car. He trades it in for $2,500 and walks back into a dealership. And this, right here, is where the $18,000 he saved disappears. Because he does the smart thing again. He buys used again. A 4-year-old sedan. $22,000 this time, because it's 6 years later and cars cost more. He rolls his $2,500 in and finances $19,500 at 12%. Again, $434 a month for 60 more months. Miles is 32 years old and he is on year 1 of a car loan. Again, Daniel is 32 years old and his car has been paid off for 1 year. He has no car payment. He will not have a car payment for the next 6 years. His car has 110,000 miles on it and it starts every single morning. Here's the 12-year scorecard. Daniel. Payments. $45,147. Repairs across 12 years, about $6,800. What the car is still worth, about $7,500. Total cost of 12 years of driving, roughly $44,400. Miles. First car, $26,700 in payments, $7,200 in repairs, minus the $2,500 trade-in. Second car, $26,000 in payments, $5,400 in repairs. What that car is worth at year 12, about $6,500. Total cost of 12 years of driving, roughly $56,300. Miles saved $18,000 on day 1 and finished $11,900 behind. None of this shows up in the sticker price, but it shows up eventually. Now let me steelman Miles, because if I only showed you the downsides of buying used, I'd be doing exactly what every car salesman does. Miles was not stupid. Miles was right about the depreciation. He was right that Daniel lost $7,600 in year 1 for nothing. He was right that the used car did the identical job. Same seats, same engine, same commute, same everything. And for 5.5 years, Miles was genuinely, measurably ahead. If this video ended at year 5, the title would be, "He Bought Used and Won by $9,000. And it would be true. So when does used actually win? Watch what happens if you change exactly one thing. Miles buys the same $20,000 car, same 12%, same repairs. But when the transmission goes at year 6, he pays the $4,800. He fixes it. He keeps the car, 12 years of ownership, $26,700 in payments, about $13,500 in total repairs, transmission included. Car's worth $2,000 at the end, total about $38,200. Daniel, $44,400. Miles wins by $6,200. Same car, same rate, same repairs, same guy. The only thing that changed is that he didn't start over. So here's the reframe. The real trap isn't buying new, and it isn't buying used. The real trap is how often you start over. Every single time you walk back into a dealership, you reset the clock. New loan, new interest, new tax and title and fees, new depreciation curve, whether it's yours or the last guy's. The rate resets, the term resets, the first year drop resets. New versus used decides how much you pay for one lap. How often you go back around decides how many laps you pay for. And a used car quietly pushes you back around sooner. Not because used cars are bad, because you bought a car that's already used up a third of its life. And when it hits the expensive years, the repair bill is always bigger than what the car is worth. So the math tells you to walk away. And you do. And you're back at the counter at 12%. Daniel didn't win because he bought new. Daniel won because he bought one car in 12 years. Miles didn't lose because he bought used. Miles lost because he bought two. If you want to know whether someone's car was a good financial decision, don't ask what they paid for it. Ask them one question. How long are you keeping it? Because that's the only answer that matters. Buy used and keep it 15 years, and you'll beat almost everybody. Buy used and replace it every 6 years, and you'll spend your entire adult life 1 year into a car loan, feeling frugal the entire time. There's one more thing I left out, and it's the biggest number in this whole video. For 5 straight years, Miles had $307 a month that Daniel didn't have. That was real. That money existed. He didn't invest $1 of it. And if you're wondering what that $307 a month would have been by the time he was 50, that's a completely different conversation. It's not close. It's not even in the same universe as the $18,000 he saved at the dealership. That's the next video. If you've ever traded in a car because the repair cost more than it was worth, tell me how old it was in the comments. I want to see how many of you got pushed back around the loop and thought you were being responsible. And if this changed how you're thinking about your next car, subscribe. That's the whole channel. Money made simple.